Good morning, Aggies and Buckeyes. Today is Thursday, April 23rd. I hope you're doing well. It is officially the second week of distance learning. I hope everything is going well. You're getting all of your work done and you're learning lots of great things in your classes. Today's lesson has to do with Greek roots. Now, this is a skill that we have been practicing throughout the year. So you may find this super easy because it is a review. I still want to go back and talk about what Greek words are. However, let's start first with our goal because every lesson should have a goal. I want you to know what you're going to be able to do at the end of the lesson. So take a look at your screen and read your goal with me. Your goal is, I can use Greek roots as clues to determine the meaning of an unknown word. So as we go through today's text, you're going to be able to use root words to determine the meaning of maybe some difficult words that you may not know. So what exactly are Greek roots? They are attached to the words at the beginning or the end of a word. So they're short little words that either are attached to the beginning or, like I mentioned, they're attached to the end of the word. Now, those beginning or endings of the words, they all have meanings. And these Greek roots are useful so you can determine the meaning of an unknown word in any text. If you know the meaning of a root word, then it makes it very easy to solve the meaning of an unknown word that you might see in a text. Now, I've composed a list of some common Greek roots that you may see in some of the stories that you read. So take a look at that chart with me. On the left-hand side of the chart, you're going to see the Greek roots. And on the right side, you'll see their meaning. Now, keep in mind, Greek roots, they never change in meaning. They're always going to mean the same thing. So if you know what a Greek root word means, then you should be able to attach that meaning to a word you may not know in a text. Now let's take a look at the first root word in it, and it is cycle. Now the meaning of that root word is circular. So anytime you see cycle, S-Y-C-L, you know it means having to do with something circular. Maybe going in a circular motion, or maybe an object that spins in a circular motion. Now your next root is deca. And remember, deca means 10. So anytime the root deca is attached to another word, it's automatically going to mean 10. Okay? Now the next one is phot, and that has to do with light. Anytime you see phot, your brain should go, straight to, that's right, light. And the last one for today is graph. And graph has to do with right. So keep those root words in your head as we go through the text from this week to find the meaning of some unknown words that have Greek roots in them. Now, let's practice those Greek roots together. I attached the passage from the story that we've been focusing on, and remember, it's Stephanie Kulak, and it has to do with her inventing a special fiber that helped make the world a better place. So let's take a look at that passage one more time. And I know you probably are all thinking, Miss Valadez, you're going to have us read again the same passage. But remember, good readers read a text how many times? That's right, they read the text 3 times to make sure they fully understand. So this would actually be one of our 3 reads that we've done together. Let's get started. Now, before we start reading, take a look at that table right at the bottom. You have some words in that table, and we're going to fill in the meaning. The first word is decade. Now, when you hear the word decade in the text, I want you to hit the pause button and see if you can determine the meaning based on the root word deca, which means 10, and how it's used in the sentence. When you hear the word bicycles in the text, I want you to hit the pause button. I want you to remember what cycle means. That's right, it means circular. and see if you can determine the meaning of bicycles. When you see the Greek root phot, I want you to stop the video, determine what phot means, and phot, you're right, it means light. You have ograph attached to the side of it. I want you to determine the meaning of photograph, and we will check our answers together. So let's get started, and let's read Stronger Than Steel. Stephanie tested the fiber in the lab and found that it was fireproof. It was stronger and lighter than steel, too. With these questions, she believed that the fiber could be turned into a useful material. She was right. The material became known as Kevlar. After Stephanie's discovery, it took almost a decade of teamwork to develop Kevlar. So there's that word decade. Hit the pause button. Try to determine what the meaning of decade is based on the Greek root deca. When you're ready for the answer, you can hit play again. Now, let's talk about the word decade. You and I know that this root word, deca, means, that's right, it means 10. Now, we got that from our chart over here. Here's the deca, and it means 10. Now, if I know that deca means 10, I'm going to look at that sentence where decade is used, and I'm going to try to figure out what the word decade means. I know it has something to do with 10. So let's take a look at that sentence one more time. After Stephanie's discovery, it took almost a decade of teamwork to develop Kevlar. Now, if decade means 10, what would the word decade mean? Let's think about that for a minute. Deca means 10, and we have DE left, and I've heard the word decade before. That's right. It means 10 years. A decade is a period of 10 years. Good job, guys. Now, let's take a look at the word bicycles. We're going to keep reading, and as soon as you hear the word bicycles, I want you to hit the pause button. And remember, that Greek word CYCL has to do with circular. Here we go. Some people spent hours on the telephone with the patent office. Others had to think of ways to use and sell it. Nowadays, Kevlar is used by almost everyone. The president and other politicians wear protective clothing made from it. So do lumberjacks, firefighters, and police officers. Kevlar is also used in fires, bicycles, spacecraft, and skis. By developing Kevlar, Stephanie had found a way to make protective clothing and equipment that is both light and strong. Hopefully, you stopped the video and you heard the word bicycles. And here it is right here. Let's read that sentence one more time so we can determine the meaning of bicycles. So do lumberjacks, firefighters, and police officers. Remember, they're talking about Kevlar. Kevlar is used in tires, bicycles, spacecraft, and skis. My brain is thinking, okay, I see the Greek root word cycle, CYCL. That has to do with the word circular. I also see the prefix bi. And if you remember back from maybe 3rd grade or 2nd grade, the word bi has to do with 2. That's a prefix. So I have 2, and I have circular, and I have ES. I know that ES just means more than 1. So we're talking about 2 and circular in this word. And I'm sure you already know that when you put the word to and cycle together, you have the word that means, what's a bicycle? That's right. A bicycle is a piece of equipment with two wheels that spin in a circle. Awesome. Good job, guys. That's exactly what the word bicycle means. Now let's get into the word photograph. Let's go back up to our text and determine the word photograph. Now, if you remember, phot has to do with light and graph has to do with right. So we have the meaning light and right, and we're going to put it together. But let's go back to the text so we can understand how the word is being used. We're on our third paragraph. Stephanie's invention has saved many lives over the years. She was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame for her work, and her photograph has appeared on a book cover and in advertisements for Kevlar. Hopefully you stopped right there and you looked at the word photograph in that sentence. Here it is right here. And her photograph has appeared on a book cover and in advertisements for Kevlar. So phot has to do with light, graph has to do with right, and when you put those two words together, what do they mean? You're absolutely right. A photograph is a picture Now, think of how that even means picture, because you and I already know that. Let's think of how you take a picture. To take a picture, you use the camera. A camera involves light, and instead of writing it with your hands, a photograph uses light to make the picture. So that's the meaning of photograph. Now, anytime you see Greek roots, hopefully you remember their meaning. I also hope you go to the text and see how those words are being used. Those are two wonderful hints that are going to help you solve any unknown words that might have Greek roots in them. Now, let's talk about what you're going to do to practice. Your turn is going to be to head over to Google Classroom, find the assignment that says Unit 5, Week 3, Greek Roots. When you find that assignment, you're going to open it up and you are going to fill in on the line the Greek root, the meaning, and you're going to underline the word that has a Greek root. Now, I know that was a lot, but guess what? Those directions are going to be found on that Google assignment worksheet when you get there. So head over to Google Classroom now and complete your assignment, Unit 5, Week 3, Greek Roots. All right, guys, have a great week, and it's almost Friday. Talk to you soon.